Welcome to Ninerology, Faithful in the Trenches. I'm your host, Alan, and we are here to talk about Brock Purdy and his potential future contract with the 49ers. Now, we know that he's got one more year before he is eligible for that new contract, but it doesn't hurt to kind of look into what he could potentially be asking for. After all, this week, Jed York did say that the 49ers are prepping to pay Brock Purdy because they know that they got a good one, and it's not a problem to have a quarterback that you need to pay because that shows that they are producing on the field. So we thought, hey, let's break down the top 10 quarterbacks that are getting paid this year and what's their average, and let's compare that to the salary cap. Now, you have the top 10 quarterbacks according to salary, not according to skill or anything like that. You got number one, you got Joe Burrow, who's making $55 million average a year. Justin Herbert making $52.5 million. Lamar Jackson making $52. Jalen Hurts making $51. You got Kyler Murray making $46. Deshaun Watson $46. Kirk Cousins $45. Patrick Mahomes $45. Josh Allen $43. Matthew Stafford $40. Dak $40. Daniel Jones $40. So you have all these quarterbacks that are making this big money. So the question is, what is Brock Purdy going to command? Well, we broke down what are the top 10 quarterbacks that we just broke down. And what is that average? Well, that average breaks down to $47.5 million per year. Now, when you divide that by the salary cap this year, which is $255.4 million, that breaks down to about 18% of the overall salary cap for a team. Now, next year's projection for salary cap is slated at about $274 million. Could be more, could be less based on TV deals and all those things, but that's the current projection. Now, based on the current projection, you move that top 10 quarterback salaries to next year. That breaks it down to about $49 to $50 million per year if you're going to get paid the average of the top 10 quarterbacks. Now, my guess is Brock Purdy is going to want more than that. Because let's be real, he is better than Kyler Murray. He is better than Matthew Stafford. Although Matthew Stafford has won a Super Bowl, we're looking at their careers right now. He's better than Deshaun Watson. He's better than multiple quarterbacks. He's much better than Jalen Hurts, much better than Dak Prescott. And if he goes on to win a Super Bowl, you bet you're behind. He's going to be asking for a lot more money. And so the question is, what's he going to be asking for? Joe Burrow is probably the most comparable quarterback as far as accomplishments to Brock Purdy. We're not talking about arm strength, all of those things, but you look at Joe Burrow, what did he do? He led his team to a Super Bowl. Granted, they lost. He also had a season-ending injury, which he came back and proved that he is still that guy. Brock Purdy did the exact same thing, but in the first 2 years, went to 2 straight NFC championships, was in the MVP conversation for most of this past year, led the league in almost every statistical category for a quarterback, also broke the 49ers passing record the very first year as a full-time starter, got hurt, came back and proved he was still the guy. And this is going to be his very first offseason without having to recover from an injury or try to make the team. So, question is, if he leads the 49ers to a Super Bowl and potentially wins that Super Bowl, what is he going to command? And I think the starting point here is going to be $55 million because that's what Joe Burrow is getting. That's the highest salary. And if Brock Purdy ends up winning the Super Bowl, possibly a Super Bowl MVP, you bet you're behind he is going to be the highest paid quarterback in the league. Now, even right now, if nothing else changed, let's just say he makes it deep into the playoffs, we know that he is the guy. I think minimally it's still going to be right around that $50 to $55 million range where they're going to have to pay. Because there's no way he should be getting paid less than Kyler Murray, who has not had any near accomplishments that Brock Purdy has had. Jalen Hurts, you can argue that, but Jalen Hurts is making $51 million a year, so he's definitely going to command more, if not at least equal to that amount. Lamar Jackson, same thing, $52 million a year. Brock Purdy has accomplished more than that, and he's been to a Super Bowl. He's accomplished more in the playoffs than Lamar Jackson. And so my guess is Brock Purdy is going to make some good money pretty soon. Now, there are always questions. Is he going to give the 49ers a hometown discount? Why does he need to? He's already making, yes, he's making tons of money for marketing all this, but he's given the team a great deal over the past 3 years, not having to pay the quarterback room. I believe this year, the 49ers are paying $4 million, the lowest in the entire NFL, for the entire quarterback room. So Brock Purdy's done enough for the 49ers. It's time for them to go ahead and put their money where their mouth is and pay Brock Purdy. Now, they can't do that till next year. So Brock Purdy, what he needs to do is go out there and perform, and I think he will. I think he's going to come up to the task and have his first full offseason of just focusing on perfecting his craft. Because again, last year he was recovering from the UCL injury. The year before that, he was just trying to make the team. and which he did. And so now this year he's the unquestioned starter, not recovering from injury, and just continuing to work with continuity with his offensive line, hopefully his wide receivers. Hopefully he'll get Brandon Ayuk back. And I think this is going to be the year that he shows the 49ers that he really is worth that 55 plus million a year. And I think the 49ers are going to figure out a way how to do that. It's going to probably take some restructures. Probably going to see, it's probably the last year you're going to have the 49ers as the clear overarching favorite as far as talent-wise on their team. They're no longer going to be the Avengers of the NFL. Even though they still lost the Super Bowl, there are going to have to be some swooping changes, which we already saw this year with Eric Armstead being let go. The question is, can they win the Super Bowl this year? And what are they going to do to stay competitive after they need to pay Brock Purdy? Well, that's all we have for today on Ninerology. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you